Hi, Astro Peeps. It's Shelly again, your astrologer, here with the news for astrology for January 17th through the 23rd, 2022. So, we're going to get this week started with a full moon in Cancer. That moon in Cancer is going to be first applying to Pluto and then the sun. So, a full moon is always when the sun and the moon are opposite. So in this case, we have Pluto right next to the sun. So before it actually becomes full, it's going to have that pass through Pluto and then move on to the Capricorn sun. So I would say that just means there might be some emotional intensity. There might be some people trying to engage you in power struggles, and to also look at where you might be trying to engage people in power struggles, power dynamics. Another big thing with this full moon is that after it becomes full, it's going to immediately be void of course. So void of course means that it's not making any aspects to other planets until it changes signs. So for that period of time, which is going to start around 4 p.m. Pacific time on the 17th until about 4 or 5 hours later, the moon will not be making any major aspects. So this is not a good time to be starting new things. It's not a good time to be putting things in motion. It's better to sit back and just let things be for the moment. Void of course means no result. So relax and feel the emotions that are coming at you. This could be a frustrating time because you might be feeling things, feeling emotions from that Cancer moon that just touched up on Pluto, and there might be some intensity. So if that happens, just know that right now you do not have to act. And in fact, it's a really good time to take care of yourself, to be with people you trust, to be alone, just to nurture yourself. So that time leading up to the full moon, of course, is always the time to be starting your projects. So we start at the new moon, but if we have something shorter, smaller that needs to get done, it could be started in the few days before the full moon. Or, just wrap up those things that you need to release, because after the full moon, you'll be releasing. And because also we have Mercury Retrograde, this is all a time for review, for looking back at our past, for looking back at what we've been doing, for making plans even for the future, but not to set them in motion yet, to gather information. On January 19th, the sun is moving into Aquarius. We're saying goodbye, Capricorn sun, and hello, Aquarius sun. This is a shift. They are both ruled by Saturn. So both Capricorn and Aquarius have rules that they live by. They have a set of strictures. And for Aquarius, it's very important to follow the rules, to follow their rules, to follow those things that they put in place. They're very good at organizing, stacking up things, getting things done in the digital realm, in the ethereal realm, in anything that has to do with organizations and people. When the sun comes on the scene, it's applying to Mercury retrograde, of course, but still Mercury, so the planet of communication. And to me, that means that we should all be paying a little bit more attention than normal to how we communicate, who we communicate with, and in what ways. So it's important that we have a mix of communication with people. And we're still dealing with COVID, and in person might not be an option for you. And if it isn't, don't do it. Keep yourself safe. But find ways to communicate with people, to interact with people, especially those people as Aquarius that are part of your society, part of your groups. They might not be your intimates, but they're people that form the circle that you're a part of and the circle that you can be a part of. So any groups or organizations you belong to, the people in your neighborhood, your acquaintances, and friends that you've lost touch with. You might try writing an actual letter. That would be a really fun thing to do right now with the Sun in Aquarius and Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. They might not get the letter until later, but it would be a really interesting thing to do right now. And also the social media, the internet. This is all ruled by Mercury in Aquarius, ruled by Aquarius, but Mercury is moving things around. So pay attention to what you're doing online. And you might make a little extra effort to be more real. And at the same time, to take care of yourself, because this is a really easy time to get frustrated and to get mulled down by people, because it can feel a little superficial when everyone's blabbering all over the place. And Aquarius can feel very emotionally unavailable. And this is because of that piece that Aquarius cares more about the collective, more about the good of the group than necessarily one person or how one person might feel about something. And to do what's important to you. And if that means going off of social media for this whole time, do it. But the best thing to do, I would say, is just to take it a day at a time. See where you're at each day and be honest with yourself. And then that Aquarian sun and that Mercury in Aquarius, and yes, Saturn in Aquarius can all be used in a way that helps you instead of hinders you. So this Aquarian sun this year is going to be bringing up more of those issues we have around our Saturn-Uranus square, because the sun is adding more light to them, pushing them along. And with Mercury in Aquarius too. So remember, once again, we're building something, we're all a part of something, we're all creating it, and it's going to take time and effort. And you can have a plan, but that plan is also going to get disrupted. So we're learning to take those things that come at us and use them in a way that helps us and helps other people. And there's no way to sort of escape this and come to a moment where it's all over. It's not going to be all over. We're doing it now. And so I would say that this time period is teaching us, those of us who were more stable or thought we were more stable, who thought our lives were more predictable, that we don't have control, that we cannot, in fact, know what's coming next. We can plan and we can build and we can create something, but it's going to take all of us. So part of our Mercury retrograde story and part of our Aquarius story is that on the 22nd, the sun and the Mercury will be together. Mercury Cazimi in a partile conjunction in the heart of the sun, using all my words here. Mercury and the sun in Aquarius in the exact same degree. So this day might amp up those Mercury things. It might amp up your issues with communication, transportation, and the digital realm, your workings with community. It's not a time to panic. This is just part of the story, and don't let yourself get wound up in it. Whatever this person's doing or saying, and whatever your electronic devices are doing or saying, take a moment. If something is going on, just let it be. Sleep on it and look at it tomorrow. Look at it tomorrow, but also Aquarius. What is one of the superpowers of Aquarius? Well, Mercury in Aquarius is really, really good at figuring things out, at being both logical and intuitive, and applying detachment to situations that could use some detachment. So if you need to make a decision and it involves some emotional information, this might be a good time to actually sit with those emotions and have a conversation with them. Because we're dealing with Mercury retrograde, going back over the past is not a bad idea. And also because Venus is retrograde in Capricorn, we are likely to be presented with the past and information from past relationships, but also just those things we value and those things we valued. And it's a time to reevaluate. Do I still value that? And if yes, what does that mean? And how can I carry forth those values, perhaps in a new way? How can they be applied to new situations? And with this new information that Uranus is bringing to me, what does that mean? What does that mean for my values? And how are things changing in ways that I never imagined? Ask yourself those questions. I personally would love it, absolutely love it, if you asked yourself those questions and shared below something. I have one. I hated social media. I was like not on it at all. And COVID happened. And so this value I had wasn't really about hating social media. It was about connecting with people, about saying things that had meaning rather than getting engaged in these like little bitsy conversations that to me don't matter. I've always had a hard time with small talk. And that is actually to my detriment sometimes because small talk serves a purpose. But what I learned through COVID is that I can actually connect with real people in real ways through social media. Share down below, get the conversation started. I want to hear what values have shifted for you and what you've come up with, or maybe something that you haven't come up with a solution yet. Maybe we can help each other out. Maybe we have something that over time we can build and we can discover. And if you like this video, like it, subscribe, and send me a message. I'm on Instagram and YouTube, and I want to hear more about your experience of the astrology that I describe, but also how we can create it together.